leave them there. Perfect prison. Why? Because to the north you've got snow, to the south you've got the mountain ranges, to the west you've got the Atlantic Ocean, and to the east, lo and behold, out of nowhere comes the Great Wall of China. You have to remember what comprised the Moorish legacy. It was known as the Amexem Empire. Now, the entire Amexem Empire went from Mongolia to South Africa, over to South America, and up through all of North America. They were known as the Asiatic nations, the Amexem Empire, the Moorish legacy. Okay, the family of man. And then you've got this orphan over here called Europe that nobody wanted. Okay? And of course, with the Great Wall of China, the academics tell you, oh, the wall was built to keep the barbaric hordes out, but no one ever bothers to ask who the hell the barbaric hordes were. The point is, it was built to keep them in, so they couldn't go anywhere. All right? And of course, in referencing the mountain ranges, there was one particular mountain range. You got the Sierra, the Nevada, the Caucasus. One particular mountain range called the Caucasus that a lot of them hung around. So this is how the term Caucasian becomes associated with the pale skin. It's not even a real term. Okay, it's like we're using the term Negro to describe black people. It just means black, and that's why it was picked. It has nothing to do with genealogy. Caucasian is also a dumbass term. So this is how those ridiculous things come about. But what had happened was that they were casted out. They were embarrassed. They realized, once they were dumped in Europe in this barren, dead wasteland that meant nothing to anyone in the family of man, they realized what they had done wrong. This is where you get the concept of like Adam and Eve feeling embarrassed and wanting to cover themselves, okay? Whereas before that they ran around naked. But they were so embarrassed about what had happened, they went into this massive psychological denial about the whole thing and started inventing all sorts of other bullshit mythology, monkeys coming down from the tree, even to the idea of being born of a she-wolf, okay? This is what they were grasping at straws because they couldn't admit that they had been banished from the family of man, lost the color from their skin, and were no longer part of that family anymore. And this is the great sin they committed against themselves. This is why they were banished. Well, the idea is, who created a rebellion within the family of, who created this rebellion in the Moorish legacy? Much the same way as the CIA does it to every country. These scumbags, in an effort to get even with the family of man, because the family of man had the gene for passion, the passion of the Christ, they started that insurgency in North Africa, okay? And this is how they began to experiment on themselves. Now, what were the Greys trying to do? Well, for one thing, they were trying to destroy this. They had a vendetta against that because they knew it came from the Anquils, which were associated with Ea and Ninhursag. On top of that, they were also looking for a good, obedient slave race, okay? And what better way to do that than to corner someone who's just been casted out and embarrassed for their own sin? So, the Greys, who themselves, of course, always favor the, yes? Oh, okay. We're going to have to stop, huh? Okay. Well, that's it. Yeah. Okay. The Greys go to the casted out paleskins and they say, do you want to get back on top of the food chain? You want to get even? Because, of course, they didn't learn their lesson, and the Greys knew that by approaching them early on, they would be able to capitalize on that feeling of vendetta and viciousness. So they say to them, we'll put you on the top of everything. If you obey us from this day forward, we will give you all the technology you need to go out there and do one thing for us. Colonize the living hell out of everyone and destroy the family of man. Destroy them, destroy them, destroy them. So from that day forward, those original European paleskins sold out the rest of the human race by agreeing to it, and by agreeing to it in feudal law, that means all of their paleskin descendants were now obedient to that system. And this is why, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Europe shows up on the scene as a world superpower, going out, destroying, colonizing, and massacring everyone in their path. Okay? Doing it to Africa, doing it to the Middle East, doing it to the Western Hemisphere and the Americas. This was their agenda, their motive, their Masonic operation. They were known as the original Freemasons. by gaining the allegiance of the casted out paleskins, they then handed off that mantle to the paleskins. And this is how the extraterrestrial connection of Freemasonry becomes an earthbound Freemasonry. That's where Freemasonry came from, and it was created solely for the purpose of burying the Moorish legacy. This is why when you see this crap on the History Channel and all they talk about is these damn white scholars and academics. Oh, Freemasonry's gone. Yeah, well, if you're asking the enemy, of course they're going to say that, okay? Try asking a dark-skinned black Native American or a black African. See what kind of an answer you get from them, okay? But we're so busy labeling these people as with bows and arrows and spear chucking that, the so-called established community won't listen. But all the answers are there. You're just not asking the right people. You have to go to the other 70% that represents the majority of the population. So that's where it comes with that. So along the way, these prophets, there's no such thing as a pale-skin prophet. Prophets are meant for those who are oppressed. 70% of the planet is oppressed by the other 30%. Pale-skin prophet would be an abomination. Okay? There's no such thing as a pale-skin prophet. The sad thing that black Masons will never be allowed to learn as lackeys for their white Mason counterparts is that they'll never be allowed to become 33rd degree Masons, because if they did, they'd be given a $10,000 pass by the Vatican to go to the House of Omar in Jerusalem and see the perfectly preserved body of Guru Master Prophet Isa, Jesus Christ, and what they would see is a black man. So there's no such thing as a pale-skin prophet. This, of course, also helps us disseminate truth from fiction in terms of apparitions and visions and crap like that. If you're looking at, some extraterrestrial, paranormal, or supernatural apparition, and you think you've seen the Virgin Mary or Jesus Christ or Joseph, the first question out of your mouth is, were they white or black? If they were white, they saw something else. They didn't see that. Okay? So any of this crap you hear about, the Virgin Mother coming in, she's described in this, white, porcelain, pure, Caucasian skin. No. Okay? There was something there, but it wasn't that. If you read the book, Heavenly Lights, the apparitions of Fatima and the UFO phenomena, you'll see how all those so-called religious things, which were skewed towards white Christianity, belong to the realm of alien contact, definitively and scientifically. Okay? But I'll leave it there. I wish I could do more.
See, we're just going to do a little collection here. You can keep up until we finish the collection.
All right, I'm going to keep up because it's doing something. All right?
We'll pass around a little something, and put whatever you can. We want to give him a little transportation stuff, okay? And then he'll stop.
Okay.
But he can continue now through the best things.
If you guys want to ask questions, go ahead. Yes.
Your description of the ascension of Europe and what their mission was, or is.
Yeah.
And if you look at the mission, a lot of people have been hurt, a lot of people have been programmed, people of dark view, things like that. There's been a lot of messing, a lot of blood commingling,
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
And there really is nobody that's truly pure from what I see. Maybe there is, but I don't think it is. Could you repeat what you answered?
Well, he hasn't gotten to a question yet, so. All right. He's talking about the mixes of the races, mixed marriages, stuff like that. Yeah.
All right. So my question is, are all Europeans summarily condemned? Are all non-Europeans, whatever that is, do they have a leg up? Is there redemption? That's my question.
Yeah, the thing is this. This is a decree that comes down from the galactic community. If you want to be part of the galactic community, you're going to have to get rid of the pale skin. And the way you get rid of that is start blackening yourself up a little bit, okay? Since the 1970s, interracial marriages have risen from 2% to 7% just here in America. That's a lot, okay? When you consider there's like about 300 million of us in here, including illegal aliens,